Kentucky is known worldwide for its hospitality, and no more so than the first weekend in May for the Kentucky Derby in Louisville. But it is not Derby Day this year. When we look at the history of this day, it is so much more than a horse race. It marks a period of renewal, hope, and opportunity. While we wait to run for the roses, the Kentucky Historical Society's vast online archive is available to take you on a journey through Kentucky's history, including some Derby and equine history. In the Alexander Family Library behind me are papers detailing the famous horse Lexington. Its progeny can be linked to 12 of 13 Triple Crown winners. Just a small sample of the genealogy, both equine and human, available for you to research online at the Kentucky Historical Society. Our staff has put together a short program for you to enjoy today. We'll review Derby fashion through the lens of Kentucky history via some examples in our collection. We'll show you how to make a Derby hat for the kids using materials found at home. And we have a very special guest, Kentucky's own Food Network superstar, Damaris Phillips. She will teach us how to make Kentucky sweet tea straight from an 1839 recipe in our collection. But first, a very special message from our governor, Andy Beshear.
From Daniel Boone to Abraham Lincoln and Muhammad Ali, Kentucky history is full of legends. Through the Kentucky Historical Society, we are able to learn from our past and prepare for our future. History shows us that if we stay the course, we will be successful in defeating this pandemic. Just like Kentuckians in 1918 were when they faced their own unseen enemy. We are doing our part, and you are helping to save lives of your fellow Kentuckians. Today, we should be gathering for the greatest 2 minutes in sports, the Kentucky Derby. But for the second time since World War II, the run for the roses will have to wait a few more months, because first, we have a job to finish, and our own story to write in the pages of Kentucky history. Today, I encourage every Kentuckian to come together at 6 p.m. and sing My Old Kentucky Home, as we do every first Saturday in May. We'll sing it to honor our healthcare workers, our first responders, our frontline heroes. We'll sing it for those we've lost and for those that we will never forget. To borrow a line from our 16th president and a great Kentuckian, the world may little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. I want to thank Team Kentucky for your resilience and your compassion. Each of you has played an important role in our fight to defeat COVID-19. The world will not forget what you have done. And because of you, the sun will continue to shine bright on our old Kentucky home. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sauter, museum educator with the Kentucky Historical Society, and we're at my house right now because I'm going to show you how to make your own derby hat from household items with your family. So the first thing that you will need to do is gather your materials for your derby hat. You can use newspaper or wrapping paper for the base of the hat, and then you want to think about how you want to decorate it. So you can use paper towels to create flowers, and you can use markers to color them or dye them. You can use fabric strips to make bows or ribbons, and you can even use yarn to tie decorations on as well. Some of the tools that you'll need are scissors, glue, and tape. You will then need to cut out 2 rectangle pieces of paper, one for the bottom of the hat and one for the top. It will then be wrapped tight around the person you're making the hat for, using tape that acts as the band of the hat, and it's going to keep it on your head. You'll then coil around the rim and smashing that paper tight and using tape to connect it to the rest of the hat. This is making more of a fancy derby hat. But if you would rather have a top hat, you can take a long rectangle, fold it in 2, and wrap that around the band of the hat, just like we did for the first one. You can even put a small piece of tape at the top to make it hold up better. Then you're going to coil those pieces of paper and wrap them tight so that you'll have a tighter brim than the last one, so it'll be connected to the stovepipe hat. So now we're going to decorate the hat. You can use your paper towels and cut them into squares and then color them with markers, and then pinch the middle and pull up the sides to make flowers to glue to your hat. Let's see those derby hats. Yeah.
I'm Julie Kemper, Senior Curator at the Kentucky Historical Society. When the Kentucky Derby started in 1875, it was patterned after racing in England. With that came the requirement of formal attire at the races. At the time, that required hats for both men and women. This top hat from 1878 would have been very typical for what you would see at the Derby at the time. Gentlemen might have also worn a bowler hat, which in the United States we call a derby hat. Not named after the Kentucky Derby, but actually named after the Earl of Derby, who started wearing them to racing events in England. For women, something like this hat from 1905 certainly could have been seen at Churchill Downs. Floral decorations were popular even in the 1930s and still in 1955 with this hat here. It wasn't until the Kentucky Derby was televised in the 1960s that the crazy and over-the-top hats started being seen on the grounds of Churchill Downs. Just as colorful as the hats were the uniforms worn by jockeys called silks. Silks were registered with specific farms or individuals, and at first were literally made of silk and registered with the Jockey Club. This silk is actually a little bit different in that it's made of polyester. It dates from the 1960s and was registered to Oscar Dishman. Dishman started as a groomer as a young man, became a trainer, and eventually owned his own racehorses in the 1960s and 70s. At that time, he was one of the few African-American racehorse owners. These silks were worn for fashion, not function, by Anita Madden in the 1960s or 70s. Madden was known for setting fashion trends and also her elaborate Derby Eve parties, where perhaps she wore this dress in the 1970s. So no matter what you are wearing, hospitality is a tradition and an expectation at any Kentucky Derby event.
It's been called the house wine of the South, and nothing says Southern hospitality more than a cold glass of sweet tea. I'm Jessica Stavros, Deputy Director of the Kentucky Historical Society, and we learned that one of the first printed recipes for sweet tea in the United States comes from an 1839 cookbook called The Kentucky Housewife. So for our Not-So-Derby Day special, we've asked our friend Chef Damaris Phillips to guide us through making the perfect batch of sweet tea.
So there are lots of different ways to make sweet tea. Today I'm going to show you how I do it. I do it this way because my family does it this way. It's real easy. It just starts with 1 cup of sugar and 4 cups of water. Bring it up to a boil on your stovetop. Once that's done, remove it from the heat and you add tea bags. I'm adding 3 large black tea bags. When you put it in, you just got to make sure they get soaked. And then because it's Kentucky and because it's May, I'm also going to add in 3 small mint tea bags. Okay, if you need to, you can use a little spoon to get them soaked in there. I'll also sometimes throw in fresh mint, so a little bit of spearmint, just so it feels extra fancy. And now you wait 5 minutes. That's it. 5 minutes, pull all of the tea bags out and cool this down. Then you add 4 more cups of water and you have yourself iced tea. To serve it, you just grab a cup, you fill that cup with ice. Maybe you put a sprig of mint in there because you like fancy things. And you fill the cup to the top. And you have now made yourself sweet tea. So there's lots of different ways to celebrate that first Saturday in May. I hope that you find sunshine, I hope that you find a front porch, and I hope that you find yourself a delicious cup of sweet tea. Bye, y'all.
Hello, friends. I'm Doug High, the director of the Kentucky Historical Society Foundation. We hope you enjoyed our KHS Not Derby Day presentation, and the best way to support our outreach efforts like this programming and our everyday mission to preserve our Kentucky history is by becoming a member of the Kentucky Historical Society. It's an annual $40 for an individual membership and $80 for family. There are so many benefits to a KHS membership, and you can read up and sign up for membership online on our website at history.ky.gov. Click on Join at the top right-hand corner. The day will soon come that we can all gather again here in Frankfort to celebrate and learn from our shared Kentucky history. Until then, we will continue to be here for you through our outreach programs, our virtual tours, our Kentucky History Treasures TV features, and so much more. We have thousands and thousands of Kentucky stories to share. Until next time, the Kentucky Historical Society remains yours in history.